I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Ladies, welcome to Women Awakening. I am so excited that I get to introduce you to extraordinary women that inspire me, because what I believe is that this is the time of women emerging. We're changing lives one person at a time, one family, one community, and in fact, one planet at a time, because we are here for divine purpose and power and expression. So today I get to introduce you to someone who has been in my life for a very long time. I'm in love with what she does, what she talks about, and who she is. And her name is Tina Lifford. So she's a Hollywood veteran, and she plays the vivacious breakout character Aunt Vi on the critically acclaimed television drama Queen Sugar. She's played over 100 characters in her long-standing career, including notable roles in Scandal and Parenthood. So she's accomplished behind the camera, but she's also a playwright. She's written this amazing play called The Circle, and it's a play about how 7 diverse women navigate the choppy waters of life, and they do it together. She's also the author of Little Book of Big Lies, released by HarperCollins in November of 2020, and the CEO of the Inner Fitness Project, a well-being initiative committed to making the practices and benefits of inner fitness as familiar, well understood, and accessible as physical fitness. Tina, I am so happy that you're here.
I am too, and you definitely spoke to the fact that we've known one another for years, but years is like decades, We've known one another for at least 3 decades.
We have.
And we have had this mutual respect for one another for at least 3 decades. So that's pretty exciting. And for us to be able to be in this conversation together is wonderful.
Well, it totally is. And I always start by asking the guests, talk a little bit about where you come from, your family and your family life, because a lot of people really feel like, success is kind of this instantaneous thing, or you drop into this amazing success bubble, but what was your childhood like? Where did you come from?
Yeah, I was born and reared in a little town outside of Chicago called Evanston, Illinois. And I'll tell you that little town lives in my heart fondly, because it really was a time when community was community. We kids, I have 3 siblings, and we kids could walk up the street or, take the 20-minute walk to grandmommy's house, and we would pass homes of so many people who knew us. And even if they didn't know us, we lived in a community where if an adult saw you misbehaving, they stepped in, Now, they wouldn't put their hands on you necessarily, but they would step in. They would question, what you were doing. And does your parents know that you're doing this? And is this what you want to do?
The village was raising you.
Yeah. Yeah. The village was alive in the little town of Evanston, Illinois. But my mother, saw it from adult eyes, and she felt that it was a bit of a Peyton place, and she wanted for her kids possibilities that she didn't see in that little town. And so it was very important to her that she get us out of Evanston. I say that just sort of acknowledging the incredible incredible way that God shows up in our lives, because what to me was this idyllic, loving childhood. My mother saw so many things going on and knew that in order for her kids to have a greater chance at the lives that we are actually living, she needed to broaden their horizons, and that meant leaving Evanston.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and I've met your mother, and she is got this amazing energy and inner insight. It's quite beautiful. So, did you want to be an actress when you were a kid?
I think I came out of my mother's womb acting. Ta-da! No, again, in Evanston, Illinois, when I was growing up, drama was an elective, and it was theater and drama was a serious course, and it was part of one's development, just like math and science. So what happened was, early on in school, like 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, I would have the opportunity to do something in the acting realm or the theater realm or the presentation realm. And that was a place where I always got affirmation. And I always felt like, yeah, this is something that feels really good to me. And my mom, being that intuitive soul that she is, though I don't remember her, coming to school and being in our classes, I must have mentioned how I feel about acting. And my mother, and we did not have money, but my mom made sure that every single summer I would have tickets to be able to go to Northwestern's theater play presentation, where they would put on like 3 plays over the summertime. And my mom would buy me and her a ticket, and we would go and we would watch those plays faithfully every summer. And I would walk out of that theater and I would be all of those characters until everyone in my family was just sick of me. And then I would wait until the next batch of characters so that I could do it all over again.
It's so incredible, Tina, because my grandmother was that person for me. She knew I wanted to be an actress, and so she took me to plays and she took me to concerts, places where I could see people, but especially people of color, where I could see them, to know that there were possibilities, And I like you, I was always entertaining the family, whether they wanted it or not. So I totally get that. So I wanted to, because I know that your Aunt Vi character, whom I love, I'm a fan. I watch her all the time. But I also know that, having a successful acting career isn't all, roses. I mean, there's valleys and peaks and things that go on. And so can you talk a little bit about the tenacity that it took for you to play over 100 characters?
Yeah. I think that's the perfect word: tenacity, determination, and I'm going to throw in faith as well. And faith, not just that it's possible, but faith that there is a way somehow. And even if you don't know it, that if in fact there is something burning inside of you, then I now, as an adult, in this work, I would articulate it as if there's something burning inside of you, then that something is asking to use you, you know? But determination. So, yeah, I was too hungry for what I wanted to give up when I wasn't getting it. I was too hungry for what I wanted. And I don't like people telling me stuff. I don't like people, dictating what's possible for my life. And so, if I let a unsuccessful audition dictate what was possible for me, and I came close, sometimes it's like, wow, why am I doing this? But I feel that way now sometimes, not just with acting, but, on this other journey that I'm on. So I realized that was part of the walk. And so I got really good, Cynthia, with rebounding.
Yes.
I got really good at rebounding. It's like, okay, I am struck down. I am feeling lost. I am feeling like, maybe I don't know how to do this or can't do whatever it is. But I only live there for a very short period of time. And then back on the horse.
Right. So I know that about you. But aside from that, there is this part of you that was forever casting seeds of possibility. And I want to remind you of one. I cannot tell you how many times you said to me, I want a series where I get to play a character that makes a difference. Those aren't the exact words. So here you are now. What season are you in?
Season 6. We're in. I'm actually talking to you from New Orleans right this moment, where we are shooting season 6 of Queen Sugar.
Yes. And so I want you to talk a little bit about keeping your attention on what you want so strongly that, that this series could come forth. And Aunt Vi is iconic, so let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, actually, there's some brain science to what I did, organically. But now I understand some of the brain science behind it. So here we go. When we focus on something, our focus, because the brain is reflexive and because it automates everything, so much of what we're doing, so much of how we're thinking and reacting is on automatic. Mm-hmm. And in order for the brain to pay attention to new stuff and to be available for that new stuff to become, a habit, it requires a lot of focus. So when you focus on something, this is how I'm understanding it. When you focus on something, there's a chemical reaction that happens in the brain. I think it's acetylcholine. And when that chemical action happens in the brain, what it does is it sets a marker that says, pay attention to this. This is different. This is new. Pay attention to this. So the more focus we give to the things that we, are working on, trying to achieve or whatever, the more that chemical reaction happens. And the beauty, the beauty that we get to actually take charge of and then benefit from is that there becomes this dance between the stress hormones and the dopamine. And the more dopamine, the more focus, the more what I call thriving self-engagement, the less room for the surviving self-habits.
Yes.
And so focus really does create possibility, and then it ignites or makes room for developing a habit of focusing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what I've witnessed with you. And that really kind of leads me into your book, An Inner Fitness, because you've mentioned thriving and surviving self. But I just, your book, Little Book of Big Lies, is so wonderful and so full of energy. And it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap for standing in the power and the creation of what you're just talking about. So could you talk just a little bit about inner fitness and about these three cells? Because I think it's really important that people start to understand that they actually do have the ability to create the lives they desire.
Yeah, that's well, you and I, could talk forever about that. Because we both are passionate about people becoming aware of how much more power lives inside of them than has been acknowledged up until now. I think that one of the most important scientific statements, discoveries in the 20th century is the reality that the brain is never fixed, that it can always change. And, that says that no matter how it has been for us, whatever our challenge is in our lives, no matter how it has been up until now, because the brain can change, which means our perception can change, then from this point forward, it can all be better. And what that looks like in terms of inner fitness is, inner fitness, you said it in the intro, but it's a well-being initiative. And our bottom line is that we are taking the stance that we can go after inner fitness in the same incremental way that people have learned to and trust the importance of engaging in physical fitness.
Yeah.
And so we are saying, get rid of all of the mysticism, let go of the woo-woo and be aware that through strategies and practices that have been proven, many of which are timeless, and have been around, just not necessarily shared with us in the ways in which they are now being streamlined and shared. You can incrementally impact your internal strength through strategies and practices. And at the Inner Fitness Studio, that's what we do. 1 hour at a time. We do workouts that aren't physical workouts, but they are internal, mental, emotional, and spiritual workouts where you get to be introduced to transformative concepts, but then in the workout, you get to actually work with them, practice them, apply them, so that you can then actually walk away with a level of skill that you can now, practice like you would, you
Right.
leg lifts or push-ups or something.
Well, what I love about that, Tina, it's like, you and I have talked many times, we weren't put here to struggle. We get to choose, and what I love about your workouts and what I love about your whole inner fitness process is that you give people the tools and the skills to be able to move from point A to B to C to D. I mean, one step at a time. And I love that. And I do want you to tell people, how to find you. And I want you to tell people how to get to your workouts, because I think it's important to have a place to go where you can be supported, because this journey of transformation isn't always easy. It isn't always just a snap of the fingers. I mean, it really takes work. I mean, to see who you have become today and to watch your trajectory and your choices is just a living example of that.
And back at you, Cynthia. I mean, we both started in a much less refined place. But I'll tell you, yes, I totally agree with you. It would be inappropriate to say anything differently. But in addition to acknowledging that this work is challenging and can be hard, in addition to that, tucked right inside of it is so many glorious moments of awakening, so many glorious moments that feel like, how can I feel this good with these tears running down my eyes? So it's about sort of reframing and seeing that. I mean, it's this. How can you stand in a gym and lift weights to the point that you just want to cry? You're in so much pain, and yet you go ahead and you get that last, few reps in, because the work that it's doing, the way in which it is building your muscle. I just had someone in our inner fitness community. One person said in a workout this morning, she said, I asked, why are you here? And her answer was, because I have the house. I have the kids. I have everything that I put my mind to. And now I'm ready to be happy, because none of that stuff has made me happy. Right. And I think that a lot of people are living that kind of life. And the other thing that someone said is, I'm, this stuff is hard, but I've never had so much fun in my life. So it's a really interesting dance.
Totally. Okay, before I ask you my last question, which I asked the guests the same last question, but will you tell people how to find you, how to get to your workouts? And I know your book, Little Book of Big Lies, is on Amazon, correct? And other places, can they find it?
Yeah. It's in all the major bookstores. I will tell you that I'm thrilled that Forbes just put it on its 21 of 21 books that will make your 2021 the best year yet. And and I have to say very quickly, Cynthia, that of course, I'm excited and proud of that, because I started writing the Little Book of Big Lies long before HarperCollins stepped into my life. But I started writing it because of that thing inside that just wouldn't let me go, right? And so following that thing inside gave me this book. And then this book wound up being found by HarperCollins, and HarperCollins knocks on my door, literally my email door. And now I, have this book that is doing very well in the marketplace, and I'm in the process of writing another. Here's how you can find me. At Tina Lifford across all social media. Lifford is Lifford. And my website is either tinalifford.com or theinnerfitnessproject.com. And if you go to the website, you will find a number of ways of engaging with us. You can take a foundational workout, which is free, and you get to see what that experience is like and see if our community is a community where you can take your next step, and expand into more of who you are.
Awesome. Okay, ladies, I hope you're listening. I hope you wrote all this down, because you will not be disappointed if you just step into this world and get the support to create the life you came here to live. So the last question I have is the same question for everyone. What is the one thing you want women to know about awakening, about their awakening on this planet?
Yeah, Cynthia, that's a fantastic question. And my answer is not just that you matter, but that there is absolutely no way that as one of, I think it is, the odds of being born a human being is 1 in 10 to the power of 10, which I'm told is about 2 million zeros, right? That means that regardless of how you slice it, this is an extraordinary experience. Don't waste it. And if in fact you were here, something is calling you. Something wants to use you. And it is not just hurt, drama, and trauma. There is a more expansive reason or opportunity that awaits you. And you deserve to experience the grandeur of your being and the possibilities that live within it.
Awesome, Tina. Thank you so much. So grateful that you were here, that you brought your wisdom, and honored to walk the path with you.
I love you, Cynthia James. I do. And, I'd hang out with you all day, any day, forever.
Thank you. So ladies, we do these podcasts once a week. So I'm going to really invite you to subscribe, come back. You can go to Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, iHeart. You can go to a lot of places and also on YouTube. So the thing is that I want you to come back and meet these women who are extraordinary examples of potentiality made manifest. You can do that because you're powerful, you're dynamic, you're magnificent, you're here for a reason. And in fact, there would be a hole without you because you are here by a divine design. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you next time, and many blessings.